Here's what you missed on Phathead and Cande in the morning. Weekdays 6 to 10 a.m. on My Country 96.1.
My Country 96.1, it's Phathead. Welcome to Tuesday, July 7th, 2026. We've got clouds. We've got 72 for the high, maybe a touch of rain. We're looking forward to Wednesday. We're going to get a lot of sun on Wednesday. Beautiful 80, Dublin Deck, the Country Fair Hump Day Hoedown with Casey Wayne and the rodeo tomorrow. Big tickets to give away on the Wheel of Prizes. We've got a great night of DJ Salty Jim and food, drink, vendors, and a lot of fun. Mechanical Bull, all that stuff happening at Dublin Deck. That is tomorrow under gorgeous skies. We cannot wait. Before we get into this next topic, I want to recommend a documentary on Netflix. Even if you're not into tennis, you do not have to be into tennis. This is really interesting. It's called Chris and Martina, The Final Set, and it follows the friendship, and it's just about an hour and a half, maybe hour 45 minutes. It's Chris Evert and Martina Navratilova, and their friendship, their rivalry, their cancer journeys together. I mean, really, like, all I knew about Chris and Martina back in the day was that they were fierce rivals. I mean, it's one of the great rivalries in all of sport. You could look at Yankees, Red Sox, and you look at all these different things. If you go to tennis, Chris and Martina, one of the great rivalries, but I didn't realize how close they were. Really interesting documentary, touching, very touching at times as well. So there you go. There's a good watch for you. Chris and Martina, The Final Set on Netflix. All right, so found this article, and it's interesting. People trying to find things that they like, that they discover, that are supposed to be expensive, but then they realize, oh, not really. So sort of like rich people things, they put that in quotes, that really aren't that expensive. And what are people's favorites online? One of them is tailoring your clothing. You know, you hear about people getting their form-fitting clothing just perfect and going to get their clothes tailored. If you can find a good local shop, you got to pay for it a little bit, but tailoring not as crazy as you think, and you can get some adjustments on your clothes. More rich people things that people are finding not that expensive. Art exhibits. Sounds expensive. Many are free and interesting to walk around. You can show up to many an art exhibit that you can just walk into. You just got to do the research. This one is funny. Somebody said Ferrero Rocher chocolate. And this is the quote: "My parents acted like it was expensive, and then they grew up and realized, no, it's pretty good chocolate, and yeah, you can kind of find it anywhere." Good wine. Rich people things that don't have to be expensive. Good wine. And the quote here is, "Cheap wine can taste amazing, and pricey wine can taste terrible." One expert said, and this is a real big wine expert, said, "Any bottle's good if you like it." There you go. So you could be, look like a rich person, drink some wine. Doesn't have to be expensive. Get yourself a nice little $12 bottle of Pindar. You'll be fine. Hiring a monthly house cleaner. Yeah, I mean, if you're doing it a couple times a week, it could get pricey. Once a month, yeah, sure, why not? I like this one. This one's funny. Got a few things to say about it. What's a rich person thing that really isn't that expensive? Playing tennis. Now, this is true because there's a lot of public courts. There's a lot of high schools with courts. All you need to do is, if you're not a tennis player per se, go get a cheap racket at Dick's Sporting Goods. You get a $30 racket. Well, you walk into Target and get a racket. Get a can of balls. You're good. It's really not expensive to go try tennis and have a little bit of fun. Now, I laugh because there's a big difference between playing tennis for a little exercise and trying to get good at tennis. And having a daughter who played tennis for 6 years, trying to get good at tennis is very expensive. Trust me on that. Giving out full candy bars on Halloween. You can go to Costco and get full candy bars, not that bad. So it looks like a rich person thing. Doesn't necessarily have to be. Salmon, at times, salmon could be affordable. There are certain places and times where Maybe it's a little more expensive than others. If you're going to a fancy sushi restaurant, then you're in for it. But yeah, if you're just looking for a piece of salmon to cook, maybe you can get that done. This is funny. Grey Poupon always was a rich person thing. Those commercials, right? Pull up in the Rolls Royce, whatever. Yeah, Grey Poupon, not a rich person thing, but sounds expensive. Couple more for you. Cloth napkins, always very fancy. Not that crazy of a price. TSA pre-check. It only costs around $80 and it lasts 5 years. So you hear about people, travelers who travel all the time who have TSA pre-check. About $80, 5 years. That is not terrible. And a couple others here. Somebody wrote, putting potato chips into a bowl is a fancy thing that is not expensive. That's true. You want to look fancy for your friends, take the chips out of the bag, put them into a bowl. And last one, Broadway shows. Not in every case, but if you're flexible, you don't mind last minute, walking up, getting a ticket last minute, or putting your name into a lottery, you can find Broadway show tickets for cheap. We've got plenty more to do. You're bald and the beautiful up at about 8:12. National Days, good news stories, late 8 o'clock hour. Cloudy, about 72 today. A little bit of rain tomorrow. Gorgeous and sunny, 80 tomorrow. My Country, 96.1.
Phathead and Cande in the morning. Weekdays 6 to 10 a.m. on My Country 96.1.